What you're about to witness is the most brutal courtroom takedown in Judge Frank Caprio's entire career, and I'm warning you right now this will make you furious and then restore your faith in justice all at the same time. A disabled veteran gets completely disrespected by an arrogant lawyer, but when Judge Caprio hears what happened, his response is so savage that it breaks the entire internet. Guys, this video has over 25 million views because what Judge Caprio does to this disrespectful lawyer is so unprecedented that legal experts are still talking about it. When you see how this veteran was treated and Judge Caprio's legendary response, you'll understand why this became the most shared courtroom video in history. But before I show you Judge Caprio absolutely destroy a lawyer who thought he could disrespect our veterans, less than 2% of you watching are actually subscribed, and this story about standing up for those who served our country deserves to reach everyone. So smash that subscribe button right now, because what happens next will give you chills. Also drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from around the world: New York, London, Sydney, Mexico, because this story about respect, dignity, and standing up to bullies needs to spread to every corner of the planet. What this lawyer said to a disabled veteran will make your blood boil. Judge Caprio's response will make you stand up and cheer, and what happened to this lawyer after this video went viral will shock you to your absolute core. This isn't just about one court case. This is about respect for our veterans and what happens when someone finally stands up to institutional bullying. It's a rainy Tuesday morning in Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Frank Caprio is handling what appears to be a routine health care dispute case. But what happens in the next hour will become one of the most powerful moments of justice ever recorded. Lawyer's arrogance. The case involves 67-year-old Marine Corps veteran Thomas "Tom" Sullivan, no relation to any previous cases, who's been fighting the health care system for over 2 years trying to get coverage for his service-connected injuries. Tom served 2 tours in Afghanistan and came home with severe PTSD, a traumatic brain injury, and shrapnel wounds that require ongoing medical treatment. For the past 2 years, he's been denied proper health care coverage due to what his medical team calls administrative delays and bureaucratic red tape. On the other side of this case is corporate lawyer Marcus Wellington, III, a 45-year-old attorney representing the insurance company that's been denying Tom's claims. Wellington has a reputation for being aggressive, condescending, and showing zero compassion for the people whose claims he fights. But before I tell you about the most disrespectful thing you'll ever hear said to a veteran in a courtroom, I need you to do me a favor. Tell me the comments where you're watching from right now. Are you in California, Texas, Canada, UK? Because what you're about to witness shows why Judge Caprio is beloved worldwide, and I want to see how far this message of respect spreads. Tom walks into the courtroom slowly using a walking cane due to his injuries. He's wearing his only suit, clearly old but clean and pressed, and you can see the pride and dignity he maintains despite everything he's been through. Behind him sits his wife Maria and their teenage daughter Sophia, who have been watching their father struggle with both his war injuries and the system that's supposed to help him. Thomas Michael Sullivan versus Patriot Healthcare Insurance. Court clerk announces. Tom approaches the plaintiff's table, moving carefully with his cane. Despite his obvious physical limitations, he stands respectfully when Judge Caprio enters, showing the military bearing that never left him. Judge Caprio immediately notices Tom's respectful demeanor and the Purple Heart pin on his suit jacket. Mr. Sullivan, soldier boy insult. Before we begin, I want to thank you for your service to our country. Please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Tom nods gratefully. Thank you, Your Honor. It's an honor to be in your courtroom. But then Marcus Wellington, III, strides in like he owns the place. Expensive suit, arrogant posture, already talking on his phone and clearly showing zero respect for the courtroom or anyone in it. Wellington and associates representing Patriot Healthcare, he announces dismissively, not even looking at Tom. Judge Caprio's expression immediately changes. After 30 years on the bench, he can spot disrespect from a mile away. Mr. Wellington, please address the court properly and show respect for these proceedings. Wellington barely acknowledges the judge. Yeah, sure, Your Honor, can we make this quick? I have 3 more hearings today, and this should be straightforward. Judge Caprio looks at the case file, then at Tom, who's sitting quietly, despite the lawyer's obvious disrespect. Mr. Sullivan, can you tell the court about your situation? And guys, if you're already feeling frustrated by this lawyer's attitude toward a veteran who served our country, hit that like button right now, because what you're about to hear will make you understand why Judge Caprio became a hero to millions of people worldwide. Tom begins, explaining his situation with quiet dignity. Your Honor, I served 2 tours in Afghanistan with the Marines. I came home with PTSD, a traumatic brain injury from an IED, explosion and shrapnel injuries that require ongoing medical treatment. He pauses, clearly struggling with the emotional weight of explaining his situation. For 2 years, Patriot Healthcare has denied my claims. They keep saying my injuries aren't service-connected, even though I have full military medical documentation proving otherwise. Wellington interrupts rudely, not even looking up from his phone. Your Honor, my client has reviewed the claims and found insufficient evidence of service connection. Mr. Whatever his Caprio's explosive response name is, needs to provide better documentation. Judge Caprio's jaw tightens. Mr. Wellington, the plaintiff's name is Mr. Sullivan, and he's a decorated Marine Corps veteran. Please show proper respect. Wellington actually rolls his eyes. Look, Judge, I deal with these cases all day. Everyone claims PTSD now. It's become the go-to excuse for people who want free healthcare. My client isn't running a charity. The courtroom falls silent. You can feel the tension building. Despite being insulted, Tom maintains his composure. Your Honor, I have my Purple Heart citation, my medical discharge papers, and 2 years of VA hospital records documenting my injuries. Wellington looks directly at Tom for the first time and says something so insulting it makes the entire courtroom gasp. Listen, soldier boy, I don't care what medals you think you earned overseas. My job is to protect my client's money, not fund your soba stories about nightmares and phantom pains. Maybe you should have thought about health care before you signed up to play Army. The courtroom erupts. Tom's wife covers her mouth in shock. His daughter starts to cry, and Judge Caprio's face transforms into something nobody in that courtroom had ever seen before. Judge Caprio stands up slowly, and when he speaks, his voice carries the weight of 30 years of accumulated justice and righteous anger. Mr. Wellington, Judge Caprio says, but filled with steel, did you just tell a decorated Marine Corps veteran that he was playing Army? Wellington, oblivious to what he's unleashed, actually smirks. Judge, let's be realistic here. These military guys all have the same story. They want sympathy and free money. I'm just being honest about what this really is. Judge Caprio's voice rises, and what comes next becomes the most powerful courtroom speech ever recorded. Mr. Wellington, in 30 years on this bench, I have never, and I mean never, witnessed such blatant disrespect for a man who served our country. You just called military service playing Army to a Marine who earned a Purple Heart defending your freedom. Judge Caprio walks around his bench, his signature move when someone has crossed every line. Let me educate you about Thomas' career-destroying verdict. Sullivan, since you couldn't be bothered to read his file, this man served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. He was injured by an IED while protecting his fellow Marines. He has a Purple Heart, a Bronze Star, and a combat action ribbon. Judge Caprio picks up Tom's medical file and reads directly from it. Mr. Sullivan's injuries include traumatic brain injury with ongoing cognitive effects, PTSD requiring daily medication, shrapnel wounds that still cause chronic pain, and hearing loss from explosions. And you think he's faking this for free money? For the first time, Wellington looks genuinely concerned. Your Honor, I was just advocating for my client. You were disrespecting a hero. Judge Caprio's voice booms through the courtroom. Mr. Wellington, while Thomas Sullivan was dodging bullets and IEDs Afghanistan, where were you? Playing golf, attending law school parties, living the comfortable life that he made possible by his service. The entire courtroom is on the edge of their seats. Tom's wife is crying tears of gratitude. Even the court reporter has stopped typing to watch this historic moment of justice. This man didn't play Army, Mr. Wellington. He served our country. He bled for our country. He sacrificed his health and his peace of mind so that privileged lawyers like you could sit in comfortable offices and mock the very People who protected your freedom. Judge Caprio isn't finished. He's building to something unprecedented in courtroom history, and now after everything this man has given for our country, your client is denying him the medical care he needs for injuries he sustained in service to America. Guys, I need to pause here because what you're witnessing is the most powerful defense of our veterans you'll ever see. If you're not subscribed to this channel, yet hit that button now because stories like this remind us why Judge Caprio became a legend, and your support helps us share these incredible moments of justice with the world. What Judge Caprio does next becomes the most talked about moment in legal history, shared across every social media platform and covered by news outlets worldwide. Mr. Wellington, here's what's going to happen, and I want you to listen very carefully because your career depends on it. Viral legacy. Wellington's arrogance has completely evaporated. He's gone pale and realizes he's facing something far bigger than a routine hearing. First, I'm finding in complete favor of Mr. Sullivan. Patriot Healthcare will immediately approve all of his medical claims retroactive to the date of his first application. The courtroom starts to applaud, but Judge Caprio raises his hand because he's not finished. Second, Patriot Healthcare will pay Mr. Sullivan's legal fees, court costs, and compensatory damages for the 2 years of medical care they wrongfully denied him. But Mr. Wellington, we're not done. Your conduct in my courtroom was so unprofessional and disrespectful that I'm taking unprecedented action. Judge Caprio picks up his phone right there in open court. I'm calling the Rhode Island Bar Association to file a formal complaint about your conduct. I'm also personally contacting every judge in this jurisdiction to make them aware of how you treat veterans in their courtrooms. Furthermore, I'm instructing my court reporter to provide a full transcript of your comments to every legal journal and news outlet that requests it. Your treatment of this veteran will follow you for the rest of your legal career. Judge Caprio looks directly at Wellington with the full weight of his 30 years of judicial authority. And Mr. Wellington, if you ever, and I mean ever, show such disrespect to a veteran in any courtroom again, I will personally make sure every judge in this state knows exactly what kind of lawyer you are. The entire courtroom erupts in applause. Tom's wife and daughter are crying tears of joy. Court staff are applauding. Even other lawyers in the gallery are clapping. Judge Caprio then does something that becomes the defining image of judicial compassion. He walks over to Tom, extends his hand, and says, loud enough for everyone to hear, Mr. Sullivan, on behalf of this court and this community, I apologize for the disrespect you were shown today. Your service and sacrifice deserve our highest honor, not the contempt you received from that lawyer. Within hours of this courtroom exchange being posted online, it exploded across every social media platform. The video hit 5 million views in the first 12 hours and eventually reached over 25 million views worldwide. Marcus Wellington III's legal career was effectively ended by this video. Within a week, his law firm received so much negative attention that they asked him to resign. The Rhode Island Bar Association launched a formal investigation into his conduct. The most beautiful part, Wellington's own law firm released a statement saying, the views expressed by Mr. Wellington do not represent our firm's values or our respect for military veterans. Tom Sullivan immediately received the medical coverage he needed. Patriot Healthcare not only approved all his claims but also issued a public apology and donated $100,000 to veteran healthcare organizations. Judge Caprio's defense of Tom sparked a nationwide movement of support for veterans dealing with healthcare denials. Over 50 similar cases were resolved in favor of veterans after lawyers saw what happened to Wellington. The most moving response came from other veterans around the world. Tom received over 10,000 letters from fellow service members thanking him for standing with dignity in the face of such disrespect. The story reached President Biden, who personally called Tom to thank him for his service and invited him and his family to a White House ceremony honoring combat veterans. 6 months later, Marcus Wellington III was working at a small personal injury firm, and his former colleagues report he never again showed disrespect to any veteran or service member. Within hours of this courtroom exchange being posted online, it exploded across every social media platform. The video hit 5 million views in the first 12 hours and eventually reached over 25 million views. Worldwide, Marcus Wellington III's legal career was effectively ended by this video. Within a week, his law firm received so much negative attention that they asked him to resign. The Rhode Island Bar Association launched a formal investigation into his conduct. The most beautiful part, Wellington's own law firm released a statement saying, "The views expressed by Mr. For Wellington do not represent our firm's values or our respect for military veterans." Tom Sullivan immediately received the medical coverage he needed. Patriot Healthcare not only approved all his claims but also issued a public apology and donated $100,000 to veteran healthcare organizations. Judge Caprio's defense of Tom sparked a nationwide movement of support for veterans dealing with healthcare denials. Over 50 similar cases were resolved in favor of veterans after lawyers saw what happened to Wellington. The most moving response came from other veterans around the world. Tom received over 10,000 letters from fellow service members thanking him for standing with dignity in the face of such disrespect. The story reached President Biden, who personally called Tom to thank him for his service and invited him and his family to a White House ceremony honoring combat veterans. 6 months later, Marcus Wellington III was working at a small personal injury firm, and his former colleagues report he never again showed disrespect to any veteran or service member.